SonicStreamhouse.com.
Okay, students, today we are going to complete the surface chemistry in one shot. Okay, so here we are going to study everything in the examination point of view, and right from the basics we will be covering without leaving a single topic. And all topics are, all sentences are, all slides are made by going through the current examinations. Okay, so this is the best way to revise anything in the fastest manner. Okay, let's start one by one. First of all, very basic topic. The very basic topic is adsorption. Okay, so what do you mean by adsorption? Adsorption and absorption, there is a lot of confusion. Okay, the phenomena of assimilation. Assimilation means combine or collecting. Okay, of higher concentration of any species. That species which we are, whose concentration is high, it is called as adsorbent, and on which it is high, it is called adsorbate. That also we will be covering. Okay, the phenomena of assimilation of higher concentration of any species at the surface of a solid or liquid. This is very important. Once there was a question, which of the following can be adsorbent? Okay, so adsorbent can be solid or liquid. Gas cannot be adsorbent. Okay, as compared to that present in the bulk. Bulk means inside. Let us take, this is the substance. This is inside area is called as a bulk, or it is called as bulk, and here it is called as a surface. So as our chapter name itself suggests, it is a surface chemistry. So we are going to study about the adsorption specially because it happens on the surface. Okay, now the solid or liquid whose surface, on whose surface, see, these are the adsorbate. Okay, these are what? Adsorbate. Adsorbate can be gas or liquid. Okay, adsorbent can be solid or liquid. Adsorbent can be what? Solid or liquid. Okay, next, the process of removal. Opposite to the adsorption, there is a term called as a desorption. Assimilation means collecting, removing is called as a desorption. Okay, so the distinguishing features of adsorption and absorption. Now we are going to study what? Differences between absorption and adsorption. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Now these are the differences between the adsorption and absorption. Okay. In absorption, it is a bulk phenomena. That means it takes place inside the, below the surface. Okay. Whereas here higher concentration of on the surface, at the surface. Okay. And here solid or liquid, or it is also solid or liquid only. Okay. Next, slower process and attainment of equilibrium takes longer time. But adsorption is only just a surface process. Therefore, it is faster process and takes very less time for attaining the equilibrium. Okay. Example, ammonia is absorbed. Ammonia is absorbed by the water, whereas adsorbed by the charcoal. Same. Ammonia is only there, but it is adsorbed on charcoal, but absorbed by the water. Okay. And for example, adsorbent. What are the examples? Charcoal or mixture of a product used in the gas mask to adsorb gases and prevent further inhalation. Okay. So this is about the differences between absorption and adsorption. Differences between what? Absorption and adsorption. Okay. Now let's see the next slide. Okay. How it takes place. What is the mechanism? What is the phenomena behind the adsorption? Okay. The phenomena of adsorption occurs. The phenomena of adsorption occurs. The phenomena of adsorption occurs. What is the reason? First reason is unbalanced or residual forces. This is the first 1 mark question. And second thing is creating excessive concentration. Okay, and strain, state of strain, solid surface. The second thing is surface of a solid has a state of strain, that is called as a surface tension. Okay, these are the two reasons. Okay, first thing, there will be unbalanced or residual bonds, and second thing, there will be surface will be strained. So to reduce that strain, we have to, it have to go for the adsorption. Okay, now next, adsorption, see here, because of the residual forces only, so residual forces reduced and decrease in the surface energy. This is concerned to this one, this is concerned to this one. Okay, which appear in the form of heat. So whatever the decrease in energy, initially let us take 20 kilojoules is the strain. Now after adsorption it is reduced to 13 kilojoules. That remaining 7 kilojoules will come out as a heat, that is called as a heat of adsorption. That is called as what? Heat of adsorption. So always there will be decrease in surface energy. That means always there will be release of heat. Therefore, adsorption is always exothermic process. Never it will be endothermic process. Okay. So that surface energy decreased due to either van der Waal or due to chemical bond. Okay. If it is due to the chemical bond, then it is called as a chemisorption. If it is due to van der Waal bond, then it is called as a physisorption. Then it is called as what? Physisorption. Okay. Now let us study further. Let us study the further topic. Mechanism of adsorption. I think it is clear. Okay, differences between the physisorption and chemisorption. Okay, so physisorption and chemisorption. First, the forces of attraction involved are very weak and long range and van der Waal forces. The attraction force between adsorbent and adsorbate will be van der Waal forces, which are weak and long range. But the chemisorption are strong chemical bond. The attraction force which combines together adsorbent and adsorbate is chemical bond. Okay, and there is no compound or there is no surface complex. It is just, it will come and reside there. There is no compound formation, but there is a surface compound or complex formed where adsorbent and adsorbate will chemically react. Okay, then it is reversible, it is just coming. So if you heat, then it will go back. If you cool, it will come back. So this is a reversible, but here it already chemical bond is formed, therefore it is irreversible. Okay, next, it occurs at low temperature. Just now I told you, when you cool it will come back, when you heat it will go outside. Okay, and low temperature and low activation energy, but it require high temperature because bond formation requires activation energy. That's why with respect to temperature, chemisorption is directly proportional, physisorption is inversely proportional. Okay. Next, magnitude of adsorption decreases with increase in temperature. First, it will increase with increase in temperature. This value is very, very important. In case of the physisorption, in case of the physisorption, it will be 20 to 40 kilojoules will be released. Whereas in case of the chemisorption, 80 to 240 kilojoules will be released. And this is multi-layer. Over this, suppose adsorption is taking place. One layer is finished. On this, second layer also can form. But here it is only monolayer. After formation of one layer, suppose this is adsorbent, one layer is completely covering. Then second layer cannot come and form. Okay, it is monolayered. This is differences between physisorption and chemisorption. Okay, now let us see the next slide. Factors affecting adsorption of gases on solid. What do you mean by gases on solid? Gases will be adsorbent or adsorbate. Adsorbate. Okay, gases will be adsorbate. Okay, on solid. So solid will be adsorbent. Solid will be what? Adsorbent. Okay. Solids are adsorbent, gases are adsorbate. Okay. So the physics option or chemis option of gases on solid depends on first temperature. It depends on what? Temperature. Second, pressure. Okay. Greater the surface area. Surface area, first factor temperature, second factor pressure, third factor surface area. Okay. And next, the surface area increases, and fourth and very important factor, easily liquefiable gas. Fourth factor is what? Easily liquefiable gas. How you will identify easily liquefiable? High critical temperature. Okay. Suppose A, B and C. Their critical temperature are 10 degrees Celsius, 23 degrees Celsius, and it is 13 degrees Celsius. So highly liquefiable will be high critical temperature. Therefore, the adsorption will more takes place the B. Adsorption of B greater than C greater than A. Okay. So this is the adsorption. What is this? This is the adsorption area. Okay. So let us see the next slide. Next graph. Very, very important in this chapter are graph. Okay. So in this graph, first there are two types of graph. Friedlich's adsorption isotherm and Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Okay. One by one we will be studying, but there is one common thing, iso. Okay. Iso means constant or same. ISO means what? Constant. Therm means temperature. So the graph drawn by taking constant temperature are called as what? Isotherms. Understood? So we will carry out adsorption at the presence of isotherms. Okay, Friedlich's adsorption isotherm is a relation between the extent of adsorption. Extent of adsorption will be X upon M. Extent of adsorption will be what? Extent of adsorption will be what? X upon M. Okay. Here it is amount of adsorbent. What is this? Amount of adsorbent. Okay. Adsorbate. Adsorbate. And here adsorbent. Amount of adsorbent per given gram of. Okay. Suppose on 10 kilogram or 10 gram. Okay. 3 grams adsorbed. 3 grams adsorbed. So this 3 gram will be X, 10 gram will be M. So that is called as extent of adsorption. Okay. So Friedrich gave a relation expression. What is that expression? Simple. X upon M is equal to K into P to the power of 1 by N. Okay. This is what this expression is. X and M all I think understood now. Okay. Now let us see the next topic. So there is a logarithm. If you apply the log, then the equation will change. This is more important than the previous one, because very olden days that question used to ask x upon m is equal to k into p to the power of n was a very old formula. But nowadays when you apply the log, then log x upon m, log k plus 1 upon n log p. Okay. This is very, very important. Okay. V to the power of infinity important. Okay. So which chem expects that there will be definitely a question which chem's favorite topic. Okay. So that can be examination question also. Now there that direct question will not be there, even that when you draw the graph by taking what I told you here, formula log x upon m is equal to 1 upon n log p plus log k. Okay. So y is equal to mx plus c. See here on y-axis what we should take x upon m. That is what we have taken. On x-axis what we have to take log p. We have taken log p here. Okay. Intercept log k. Intercept is log k. Slope 1 upon n. Slope is 1 upon n. Okay. So this is how you can understand very fast with the slides. Okay. So that's why I am nowadays preferring through the slides, especially for fast revision. If you want the revision to be very, very fast in short span of time, then I expect everybody will understand it easily and will memorize easily. Okay. Now let us see the next topic. Okay, Langmuir, Friedrichs adsorption isotherm we have studied, and now we are going to study about the Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Okay, he gave an expression to determine again x upon m only extent of adsorption, but depending on variation of pressure, assuming that what are the additional assumptions here, the adsorption surface is homogeneous fixed number of adsorption sites. Okay, so that means it is not that somewhere adsorption will be more, somewhere adsorption will be less. Okay, it assumes that everywhere adsorption will takes place uniformly. Okay, so like this is a uniform distribution of adsorbent. What is this? This is uniform distribution of what? Adsorbent. Okay. So here more adsorbent, here less adsorbent. It is non-uniform. If everywhere it is uniform, that is assumed, and mono layer it is assumed. Okay. The rate of desorption proportional to concentration of adsorbed molecule. This is for the desorption, this is for adsorption. Okay. So rate of desorption is inversely proportional to rate of adsorption. Both will take place and they will stay at equilibrium. Suppose 10 molecules are adsorbed. At the same time, 10 molecules will be desorbed. That rate of adsorption is equal to rate of desorption. See here. A stands for adsorption. D stands for desorption. Okay. Formula will be, what is the phi? Phi is the fraction of surface already covered. So like here it is fully covered. Let us take this is the total surface area. Okay. Total surface area of adsorbent. What is this? Adsorbent. And up to here it is covered. Okay. So this covered surface area will be phi. This empty surface area will be 1 minus phi. Okay. So that is what the difference. Understood? More surface area available, more will be the adsorption. Less surface area available, less will be the adsorption and more will be the desorption. Okay. So this is what adsorption and desorption, and this is the formula. Understood? Okay. This is the Langmuir adsorption and other adsorption differences. Okay. Friedrichs adsorption isotherm does not depend on the surface area. Okay. Here it will depend. Now let us see the next slide. So here this is the complete derivation. Okay. Complete derivation of formula. At least this formula you should be able to remember. And a plot of P upon X upon M. That is same. Y is equal to mx plus c. Okay. So here 1 by k will be the slope, x-axis will be pressure, p to the power p upon x upon m will be y, and slope will be 1 upon k1 by k2. Okay. So this is very important. Derivation is not much important, but the final comparison between the straight line and straight line obtained, what you have to take on x-axis, what you have to take on y-axis is very important. Okay. So I think all of you noted. Now let's see the next slide. Next slide is adsorption from the solution. It is very easy with one trick. What is the trick? In place of the P in the gases, here we are going to substitute C. There it was x upon m is equal to k into p to the power of 1 by n. But here pressure is replaced with the concentration, then you will get this formula. Okay, and rest all is same. Wherever you find pressure, you will substitute concentration. Okay, that is the difference. If you know that logic, then everything is very, very easy. Okay, now let's see the next graph. Sorry, next slide. Factors affecting adsorption of solutes from solution. Pressure and temperature are for the gases. Okay, for the solute and solution. The extent of adsorption depends on nature of adsorbent as well as adsorbate. Okay, so if they both attract with each other, automatically adsorption will be more. Okay, usually greater for the higher molecular mass. More molecular mass, more will be the adsorption. Okay, adsorption of solute decrease with increase in rise in temperature. That is same. Okay, then adsorption of the solute from solution increases with increase in concentration. C to the power of something is there, therefore direct proportional to C, and increases with increase in surface area. Okay, that's why we make the activated charcoal. Activation means increasing the surface area only. Okay, and if solute adsorbed by the adsorbent, then it is called positive. When solvent is taken by the adsorbent, then it is called negative adsorption. Okay. So what we will do, let us take, this is the solution. Okay. So these are the solute. Now we will push or we will keep a adsorbent here. If it absorbs solute, positive adsorption. If adsorbs solvent, then it is negative adsorption. Positive and negative adsorption, I think it is clear now. Okay, now let's see the next one. Catalysis. Okay. Next topic is we have completed successfully what we have completed, adsorption, without leaving a single topic. All examination points are completely revised. If you want anything to be more practice, more explanation, in the description box, you will find like this. When you push, then there will be link given here in the description box. You can have the complete playlist of the surface chemistry. Okay, open that playlist, whichever topic. Suppose you wanted for the Pritzlitz adsorption isotherm more explanation. You can go through that lecture, or you can go from the starting and make a complete notes. Okay. Then catalysis. Catalysis is defined as a catalyst. Sorry, catalyst is a substance. Catalysis is a process, is a substance which alters. Here, alter word is very important. Alter means we can increase or we can decrease the rate of a chemical reaction without appearing at the end product of the reaction. Okay, that means end of the reaction, that catalyst will not make any difference. Same product will be there. Okay, the substance which is present in small amounts and promote activity of catalyst is called as a promoter. Catalytic activities increases, then it is called catalytic promoter. If it deactivates the catalyst, then it is called as a poison. Promoter and poison are indirectly working on catalyst. If catalyst activity improved by this substance, they are called as a promoter. If by the presence of them catalytic activity decrease, then they are called as catalytic poison. Okay. Okay, then again some more topic, positive catalysis or accelerator. Catalyst is not always that it will increase the rate of reaction only. Okay, it can increase or it can decrease. If it increases the rate of reaction, it is called as a catalyst, positive catalyst. If it decreases the rate of reaction, it is called as a negative catalyst or inhibitor. Okay, accelerator and inhibitor. So sometimes we want that some reaction is to be slowed down, which are unnecessary reaction. Then there that places we will use inhibitor. Okay. For example, glycerol. Glycerol retards the rusting of a machine. Okay. And antifreezes. Okay, so these are the antifreeze. Freezing will be reduced. Rate of freezing will be reduced. Okay, so some unnecessary reaction like rusting and freezing, these are to be reduced. Then we use the negative catalyst or inhibitor. Some reaction are very much required. Then we use the positive catalyst like iron catalyst. Okay, iron catalyst which catalyze the reaction between the nitrogen and hydrogen. It is a very famous reaction. What is this reaction? Good, Haber process. Okay, so I think it is clear now. Okay, now let us see about the next topic. Next topic is types of catalytic reaction. This classification is based upon the physical state. If reactant and catalyst are in same physical state, then it is called as a homogeneous catalysis. But see here, this is gas, but it is solid. Okay, the reaction in which catalyst is in a different phase from the reactant, then it is called as a heterogeneous catalysis. Okay, so like neon nickel is a solid, but other reactants are gases. Okay, so let us see about the next card, next slide. This classification is very easy. Now, theory of heterogeneous catalysis, why they are able to increase the reaction, is explained on the basis of two theories: intermediate complex theory and adsorption theory. Intermediate compound theory, catalyst forms a reactive unstable intermediate. Once it is unstable, automatically rate of reaction will be very, very fast. Okay, so rate of reaction will be increased due to formation of unstable reactive intermediate. Unstable reactive intermediate. Okay, intermediate readily react with other reactant to form a product and original form. Catalyst will be again brought back to the original form. Okay, but here adsorption theory, it increases the concentration. Okay, according to this theory, catalyst forms a reactive and unstable intermediate, and it is on the surface. Okay, where it is available? It is available on the surface. Okay, next, characteristics of a catalyst is very important again. Catalyst remain unchanged its composition. Chemically it will remain same, and even amount also will be same. If we take 10 grams before the reaction, 10 grams should be available after the reaction. That means it should not be consumed during the reaction. Okay. Sufficient in small quantity. It is not that 10 kg, 15 kg we will take. In grams only we will take. Okay, and then it does not affect thermodynamic parameter of the reaction. If suppose if you are reacting a, if you are doing a reaction without catalyst, 40 kilojoules is released. Even though we use catalyst, 40 kilojoules only will be released, but only thing, rate of release of 40 kilojoules will be more. Okay, so that how many times the rate of reaction is increasing, that is called as a activity. Okay, so catalytic activity in hydrogenation 5 to 11 show the metals of group 5 to 11 show increasing order of catalytic activity. This is the activity, how many times the rate of reaction is improved. Then the side reaction, suppose two reactions are there, then which product it is going to select, that is called as a selectivity. And specificity means only which reaction it is catalyst. Okay, for which reaction it can act as a catalyst, that is called as a specific. Which product will be more, that is called as a selectivity. How many times the rate of reaction improved, that is called as a activity. These are the basic important characteristics of a catalyst. Okay, now let us see the next topic. Enzyme catalysis. Enzyme catalysis, I think you must have studied in the biomolecule also. Enzymes are biocatalysis. Okay, reaction taking place in living cells are mediated by biological catalyst called as enzymes. Okay, these are not artificially made. These are the natural catalyst, and where you will find them in the biological reaction. Okay, enzyme and substrate combine to form a enzyme substrate complex. That is intermediate theory only. They also follow reaction intermediate theory only. So that intermediate is called as enzyme substrate complex, which is unstable. So unstable will give you the product. Okay, this is called as induced fit. Okay, like enzyme plus substrate will form a enzyme substrate complex. Then this will substrate will be converted into product. Again, we will get back our enzyme. See, enzyme remains ineffective. So only substrate is converted into product. Okay. This is a diagrammatic representation of lock and key model. Okay. So this is enzyme and this is the substrate. See, enzyme and substrate. Just a minute. Okay, this is enzyme and this is the substrate. Out of this, only substrate can accommodate this one only. This will fit into here. This will fit into here. It will not fit. It will not fit. It will not fit. So that is the shown that shows the effective, that is selective, specific in nature. Okay. Now this is the complex. Okay. After that, there will be two product. Okay. So this enzyme can catalyze reaction only with this substrate, highly specific in nature. This is what called as a lock and key model. This is a lock, this is key, it can only open into the product. Okay. That this place is called as what? Active site where they are reacting. Okay. So this is very important diagram where with which we will be able to understand it nicely. Okay. Now let us see the next topic. Colloidal state. The third topic of the surface chemistry is colloidal state. Okay, adsorption, catalysis, and colloidal. Okay, actually depending on the size of solute particle, they are divided into three types: true solution, colloidal solution, and suspension. When they are of the very small size, okay, that is less than 1 nanometer, then they comes under the true solution. When they are more than 1000 nanometer, they will come under the suspension. When they lie in between, then it is called as a colloidal solution. Okay. So this classification is based upon the size. Understood? Again, it is mentioned here greater than 1000 nanometer, between 1 to 1000 nanometer, less than 1 nanometer. Okay. So the heterogeneous mixture but colloidal particles cannot be seen. Okay, this is completely heterogeneous. This is completely homogeneous. Okay, but this can be seen under the scattered light. Under what light? Scattered light, it can be seen. Okay, now let us see the next slide. Differences between lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. Okay, philic means attracting. So there will be two parts: dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Okay, normal solution, what we call solute, is called as a dispersed phase, and normal what we call as a solvent is called as a dispersion medium. Okay, lyophilic and lyophobic. If the repulsion between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, then it is called lyophobic. Okay, this weak interaction, the repulsion. Okay, there are strong affinity, then they are called as a lyophilic. Okay, colloidal particle pass readily, immediately they will mix without any problem. But here they dissolve with very difficult. Okay, it is very difficult to mix both of them. And these are reversible souls. Once uh, they are already attraction force is there. Even though by mistake if you separate them, they can again mix back, but they do not mix once they are separated. Okay. If the dispersion medium is water, then alcohol. If the dispersion medium is alcohol, sorry, dispersion medium is water, then hydrosol or aquasol. Alcohol, alcohol, benzene, benzosol. Okay. So this is about the classification of lyophilic and lyophobic. Okay. Lyophilic and lyophobic. This is the differences between lyophilic and lyophobic colloidal solutions. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Then this classification is based upon the multimolecular, macromolecular and associated. This is uh, how the dispersed phase particles are made. Okay. So if the dispersed phase particles are combined by the small molecule together, aggregate means combined together. Okay. Then they are called as what? Multimolecular. If they are made by big molecule, have dimensions similar to colloidal size, then they are called as a macromolecular. Big molecule are broken into colloidal size, then it is called macromolecular. Small molecules are joined together, aggregated together, then it is called multimolecular. Sulfur is a example of multimolecular colloid. Okay. Next, macromolecular colloid is protein, enzyme. They are already so large in size, you need not to join them together. Okay. Next, associated colloid. This is most important among all of them. Okay. There are certain colloidal solutions which will be of colloidal size only after certain concentration. That concentration is called as a CMC. Okay. That aggregated molecules are called as micelles. Okay. So at lower concentration, they are simple true solution, but higher concentration above the CMC, they will be colloidal solution. Okay. Soaps or detergents are examples of the associated colloids. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Preparation of colloids. Next one is what? Preparation of colloids. Chemical method. Simply see here. Oxygen is replaced by the sulfur. Chlorine is replaced by the bigger molecule we are replacing. Okay. Sulfur is completely together. Then Cl3 is Cl2 is replaced with Cl4 by increasing the size by using the chemical reaction. If you bring back into the colloidal size, then such methods are called as a chemical methods. Okay. These are not much important, but you can just go through them. Okay. Now let's see the next one. These methods are very important. Okay, next very important method, Bredig arc method. Okay, this is a reason for the charge on the colloidal particle also. The metal that needs to be dispersed are made into electrode. So this method is purely useful for the preparing the colloidal solution of the metals. Okay, so suppose if you want to make gold sol, we will make gold as electrode. Okay, now they are given with the high electrical voltage. When they brought together, they condense into they vaporize. Then vapors are condensed. Then when they condense, they are into the colloidal size. Okay. Bredig arc method. Suppose this is a gold rod, this is a gold rod. Now these are given to the high voltage. There will be arc. So during that arc, that gases will be evaporated. Okay. So that gases evaporating of the gold are condensed back and they will be converted into colloidal solution. Okay. So that is about the colloidal solution. Understood? Especially this method is useful for metals. Then peptidization very important. Okay. So peptidization very important. Here in this we will add small amount of electrolyte. Okay. With presence of electrolyte we will convert a precipitate into colloidal solution is called as a precipitation, peptization. Okay, peptization, whatever the electrolyte we add, that is called as a peptizing agent. Suppose a dark red colored sol of FeOH, this is the colloidal solution obtained when we treat small amount of FeCl3. Okay, precipitate when treated with FeCl3, that will be converted into colloidal solution. See, this is the precipitate. Okay, to this what we will add? FeCl3 we will add. Then this will be colloidal solution. That colloidal solution will be of FeOH whole thrice. Okay. And what is the reason? Precipitate absorb only one type of ion, that is ferric ion. Okay. This is called as preferential adsorption. What it is called as preferential adsorption. Okay. This is very important word. I think everybody will remember this. Now let's go to the next slide. Mechanical properties. Now these are the preparation methods. Next are properties. In the properties, mechanical properties, zigzag motion of the colloidal particle is called Brownian motion, and scattering of the light by the colloidal particle is called Tyndall effect, and condition necessary. This is very, very important. Okay. First of all, diameter, that is size of the colloidal particle, should be order of wavelength of light used. Okay. Light wavelength and size of the colloidal particle should be almost same or sometime greater. And difference in refractive index between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium must be very much high. When these two conditions are satisfied, then only they can be easily converted, or they can show the Tyndall effect. What they can show? They can show the Tyndall effect. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Coagulation or flocculation. It is just opposite to the peptization, or it is similar to the precipitation. Okay. In normal solution, we call it as a precipitation. Here we call it as a coagulation. Okay. Coagulation is the lyophobic sols. That is specially, this is applicable for the unstable colloidal solutions like lyophobic sols. We it carried out by, very very important, once more than one correct question. Dialysis, prolonged dialysis can cause coagulation. Oppositely charged colloidal solution mixing, coagulation. Electrophoresis can cause coagulation. Boiling can cause coagulation. Addition of electrolyte causes coagulation. These are the methods of causing coagulation. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Hardy's-Cassel rule, v to the power of infinity, important. Okay, very 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 important topic. Hardy's-Cassel rule, coagulation can be brought very fast for the negative. Okay, for the negative colloid, positive ion. For the positive colloid, negative ions. So PO4 3 minus, if it is there, then coagulation will be very very fast. Okay. So that is the greater is its power to cause coagulation. Is it understood? Now that is what Hardy's-Cassel rule says. Now let's see the next one. Protection of colloid. Like I told you, hydrophobic or lyophobic colloid solutions are highly unstable. So they can be protected against coagulation. Okay, by adding some protective colloid. But how much they are able to protect, they are given with a number called as a gold number. Okay, so in the gold number, what we will take? We will take 10 ml of 10 ml of standard red gold sol. Okay, standard red gold sol. And to this we will add 1 ml. 1 ml of 10% NaCl solution. Then there will be coagulation. To prevent that coagulation, number of milligrams of protective colloid required to cause coagulation, okay, is called as a gold number. Understood? Then higher the gold number, lower will be the protective power. Gelatin is the lowest gold number. Very important. best protective power is shown by the gelatin. Lower the gold number, then it is best protective colloid. Okay. Now let us see the next topic. Okay, so we are almost about to finish off. Now, emulsion. Emulsion is a special type of colloidal solution where both are liquid. Okay. Liquid in liquid colloidal solution is called as a emulsion. There are two types of solution. Oil in water, O by W, or water in oil, water by water in oil. Okay. Water is dispersed phase and oil is dispersion medium. Then emulsions are particularly oil in water type are unstable. So they must be added with some emulsifying agents. Okay. Like milk is a unusual emulsion that is stable. Okay. Because they have emulsifying agent that is protein. Cyacin is the emulsifying agent. Okay. Now next emulsion. Emulsion Emulsion show mechanical properties of colloidal solution, Brownian movement, and Tyndall effect. Emulsion can be precipitated by addition of electrolyte and particles negatively charged. Okay, so this is all about the emulsions. Okay, now let's see the next and final slide. Thanks for watching. All the best for your examination. I think you will score very much high. Whatever the topic you have doubt, you can go through that lecture, particular lecture, and you can have the DPPs, topic wise DPPs also there. Previous year examinations also there. So I hope you will use best use of them. Bye bye. See you with the good marks in your examination. Okay.